on the biggest stories, and don't miss us on The Herd weekdays at 12 Eastern. Catch it all right here Monday through Friday on FS1.
Dynasties come out of nowhere in sports. And we thought the Miami Heat, LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Bosh, going to last forever. That lasted 1/3 of the San Antonio Spurs. Tom Brady, Belichick. Belichick been fired in Cleveland. He was 5-11. Tom Brady comes in for an injured Drew Bledsoe, 18-year dynasty. Both came out of nowhere. Coach K at Duke, he was barely 500 as a head coach at Army. Joe Torre was an announcer on television for the California Angels. He had a losing major league record. He got the Yankee job. They won 4 out of 5 World Series. Probably the best baseball teams ever. Amazon sold books. They now rule the world in retail. Netflix sent you DVDs in the mail. They're the #1 disruptor in American television history. Pete Carroll was considered a joke hire at USC. Dabo Swinney was a wide receiver coach at Clemson. Dynasties come from nowhere. You're like, I don't The Indianapolis Colts at the start of next year will be on a 10-year dynasty. The Indianapolis Colts have the best young general manager in football, a star quarterback now on a very reasonable contract, 9 draft picks. Van Der Esch is not the best young linebacker in football. Darius Leonard of the Colts, a rookie, led all players in tackles by a wide margin. Their offensive line is the best young offensive line in football. Andrew Luck went 11-5, 11-5, 11-5 with no support. Since week 6 to 7, he finally got healthy. Here it comes. You better beat them this weekend. You better beat them this weekend, because I'm telling you, New England's rain, Brady's not getting younger, and Pittsburgh's dysfunctional. Watch out. Here it comes. All right, as we have 4 great games this weekend, there's always been this confusion. The audience thinks we're rooting for this, we're rooting for that, we're rooting for big market, we're rooting for small market. The highest rated NBA Finals ever, I think, was Michael Jordan against the Utah Jazz. And everybody was predicting nobody'd watch because Utah is a small city. But it was a great story. And it was Michael Jordan with a 100-degree temperature and the Utah Jazz with this pesky team that gave Jordan trouble. And there was all sorts of drama. Ratings come from stories, not market size. Okay, that's the reality of it, is that Boston and the Patriots, this has been a dynasty. Alabama is a dynasty. It's not always big markets that control sports or get the ratings. It's the best stories. So the Utah Jazz Michael Jordan finals was the highest rated finals of all time. Michael had played Barkley and the Suns. And you'd think that would be a huge rating because Barkley was a star. That was a little Utah Jazz. And so this weekend, if it was up to me, that I was rooting for the best stories, because the best stories mean I'll get better ratings, the numbers inflate, more people watch our show, we can build a bigger staff. We're rooting for the most interesting stuff to happen. So when you get up Monday morning, you're like, yeah, let's just see what Joy and Colin have to say. That's what we're rooting for. We're rooting for interesting. So let's go through all 4 games. What would be the most interesting outcome? Kansas City at Indianapolis. I believe the most interesting outcome is a shootout between the next Brady and Manning. For the next 10 years, Patrick Mahomes and Andrew Luck are going to go toe-to-toe. And I want a shootout. And I want Kansas City winning. And I want the MVP winning. And I want Andy Reid winning. And I think it's 34-33. And this is Peyton Manning and Tom Brady early in their careers. Obviously, Mahomes younger than Andrew Luck. But I want Mahomes to be flashy and no-look passes and left-handed passes and be a contrast of styles. That Mahomes comes out, he is Brett Favre. He makes a real bonehead interception. He makes some mistakes. But he has 2 or 3 unbelievable all-time highlight plays. Meanwhile, Andrew Luck is 28 for 34. He is workmanlike, a contrast of styles. He is boring, and he is leading them down the field, and the clock runs out, and Kansas City wins a wild shootout, and we have a sense when the game is over, oh, my God, we're going to see this a lot for the next decade. A Kansas City narrow win in a shootout gets everybody fired up, because we know the Chiefs are going to be around for a while. And we know the Colts with 9 draft picks on top of this and $100 million, they're going to be really good starting next year. But this one we give to Kansas City, and then they go back and forth. Okay, Dallas and the Rams. What's the most interesting outcome, Dallas and the Rams? Dallas upsets the Rams, and Dak is not good. Zeke runs for 150. The Cowboy defense is great, and Dak Prescott struggles. And for the next 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, what do we do with Dak? We're winning the division. We're winning playoff games. He's Alex Smith. What are we going to do if we pay him? And by the way, the glitzy Rams give me all sorts of stories. Sean McVay, 0-2, both at home, in the playoffs, both as a heavy favorite. And the shiny new techie toy, it doesn't really work in January. And Sean McVay is maybe a little more style than substance. I don't believe that to be true. But Kansas City in a shootout winning, Dak playing poorly and the Cowboys winning and getting to the NFC Championship. And an equally big story is the Rams are a lot of glitz, and they paid for all these big stars, and it ain't working, brother.
And all those teams that picked off that Sean McVay tree are going to be a little concerned.
How about New England Chargers? We said this yesterday. The Chargers don't beat New England. They beat them 33-14. Tom Brady is overwhelmed, sacked 6 times. The Chargers have better players. You start to question Belichick's arrogance, letting Brandon Cooks go, Josh Gordon, leaving Tom with nothing. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Dynasty is over. Tom Brady going to retire. Belichick getting heat. We have another offseason where we question the dynasty going forward. Not just a Charger win, but an overwhelming performance where the road-weary Chargers go on the road. You watch the game for 3.5 hours and come to the conclusion it's over. Kind of like that Bama-Clemson thing. You're like, oh, Clemson's better. They got better coach. They got better structure. They got better players. You sit and watch that game, and you think, oh, it's not even close. New England's got no players. That's the best outcome. We're talking about that until Labor Day. Finally, Eagles-Saints. Now, you're going to be confused by this. You know, I initially thought, well, Drew Brees wins. Everybody loves Drew Brees. But what if the story Sunday night is, holy crap, Philadelphia wins, close game, 4th and goal, Doug Peterson, Nick Foles again, pull one out of there, you-know-what. And then after that, it would be the Eagles at the Cowboys for the NFC Championship. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. If Philadelphia wins another close situational game, let's see, they beat Atlanta in one of those, and they beat Brady in the Super Bowl in one of those, and they just beat the Bears in one of those, and they earlier this year beat the Texans in one of those, and they're getting into a habit that Doug Peterson, if he wins another one against a great quarterback, there's a Belichickian thing going on where it is not a coincidence. Philadelphia is simply smarter, owner, GM, coach. We've got a Wentz-Foles controversy. I think Philadelphia winning close. Colin, what about the Breeze, Brady, Super Bowl? Well, in my scenario, Brady doesn't get past the Chargers, so that's not going to happen. If you're asking me what's interesting on Monday, what is the most angst? Kansas City wins in a shootout. Dallas wins, but Dak struggles. The Patriots get absolutely rolled. And somehow, some way, on another 4th down situational moment, the Philadelphia Eagles shock the world, and we can't figure out what the hell's going on. Here's Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So Steelers president Art Rooney II made some very illuminating comments yesterday about his disgruntled receiver, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Looks like AB's future is murky at best in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Rooney implied that